This Koine Counsel lesson is for youth primarily. Adults can listen in or overhear if they want to know what it is exactly their young people are being counseled. But this is about Matthew 11, for example, and this is just a Bible lesson. I won't be spending a lot of time going through the grammars or anything, but in this lesson, Jesus mentioned John the Baptist, of course, and then, of course, himself. And he said that John the Baptist was in the wilderness. And that refers to an uninhabited area. And it says that he was out there in an isolated area, and they said he had a demon. A demon. And Jesus said that he came and he was eating and he was among people and interacting in city villages. And it says that they said that he was a wine bibber, a bibber, it's a good little word, isn't it? And a glutton. So Jesus was saying here's two occasions, two different people, two extremes in the way they socialized. And of course Jesus was also accused of eating with sinners and publicans, and John was accused or demanded to explain what he was doing out there in the wilderness. But Jesus was saying, how would he compare a generation that's like this, where on one hand a man is out in the wilderness, away from people, isolated, eating the product of nature, organic honey and locust, I guess, as people called that, whatever else he ate, that high protein diet, I suppose. And they said he had a demon, and here's Jesus among people, even at times banqueting with people, and they said he's a wine bibber. So he said this generation is like children, and they would play a wedding song. They would pipe a little song, and it would be a nice, pleasant song, and they'd want the other children to play along with them, dance along with them, pretend. Remember, I'll tell you how dangerous hypocrisy is. Well, then over here, this group would be playing a sad, like a funeral song, and they would say, now it's your time to pout, and they would expect the other children to play along. And Jesus said this is how he compared that generation, whether John was in the wilderness announcing the kingdom of God or Jesus was among the people. They always had something to condemn or to negate. They're very negative people. We posit the truth, they negate the truth. Posit's the verb of the adjective positive. We posit the truth, they negate the truth. We posit the light, they negate the light. We posit Jesus, they negate Jesus. We posit the message, they negate the message. And Jesus just said they're like children. So young people, you try to dance for this group, and you think, okay, I finally placated them. Well, no, then you have to pout for this group. Well, you'll find out it's the same group of people. They just want to be the ones that call the shots. And when they find out you won't dance, young people, or they find out you won't pout on cue or dance on cue, they won't find you of any value. When they find out they can't use you, they'll do with you what they did with Jesus. That is not literally in our country, because Jesus lived a life and died because of his teachings so that we might live according to them. And with all the freedom we have today, our responsibility is so great that this is why I would laugh. I would place Calvinism and Arminianism in these camps as well. They're just like children. One's over here piping and saying you're not dancing. The other one's over here pouting, saying I'm not pouting. And yet I believe the Bible, I study the Bible, I serve the Lord, obey his teachings, father my children, my husband to my wife, a brother to my brethren, adhere to the covenant, hold fast to the profession of faith in my baptism, commune on a regular basis into the message, examine myself to assure that I'm in the faith, know that I have the mind of Christ, the new mind, the new heart, the new spirit, a heart on which the New Testament is literally written, know exactly what the kind of action says in the grammars, know that the gospel precedes punctular action, believe, the simplest form, know that the new birth is subsequent to that, and the new birth is prior to continuous believing, well aware of all of the quantifiable, measurable things you can understand any common reader can understand that I'm now doing continuously a definite kind of justice. I'm continually loving and knowing Thee, God. But yet these children will come along, and I've been reconciled to God. I don't have to explain how, if God knows everything, that's a problem. It's not a problem. God knows more than everything, because He even knows how much He knows, and then He knows that plus more. God's infinite in His knowledge. Psalm 147 says that His intelligence is infinite, so His IQ is infinite. His power is without measure. He holds sway over all things. The word almighty literally means that. So I really don't know what to say about these children, but if they would be reconciled to God, they wouldn't be trying to change God to suit them. Because young people, you're going to find out one camp over here will say that the God of this camp's not even worthy to be worshipped. Then this camp over here, these childish ones, will say this God's a monster over here. So what I'd recommend is just believe them and know that they're both negating, that those systems that they've constructed are so important to them that they use the Scriptures to support them rather than they support the Scriptures, which is what the Bible teaches us to do. So come out from among them. They're very childish. They pretend a lot. They create severe crises over nothing and cause a lot of people to be stirred and agitated. And as Paul said, he wished those who were agitating them would just simply, he went to an extreme in his expression for them. But anyway, young people, this counsel is to advise you when someone pretends to be the piper or takes the position of a piper, they're wanting to be the manipulator. And when someone takes the position of the pouter, they're wanting to be the manipulator. And I've seen people literally pout pretentiously to cause someone. And recently a study came out, it was so funny, they said that these scientists have discovered that children may be pretending when they're crying and have the ability to cry when something's not really going on. Wow. I had a dad that knew that so well that when we would pretend to cry, he would let us know that he would give us something real and actual to cry about. And I don't remember my dad having a PhD in psychology or studying all those marvelous sciences today, but I'm very thankful that the scientists have discovered that some people just pout to pretend to get their way, and some people just pipe to make others dance. But young people today, especially being discipled all your lives in one of the Lord's churches called out body, and especially knowing how important it is to follow the teachings of Jesus and live in a covenant relationship, which these groups do not do that. They don't interact according to the covenant. Most of them don't even acknowledge the Lord's church in any particular place as a place where they are covenanted together to carry out and examine themselves in relationship to one another. So don't fall for it. Don't go along with it. It's childish. And it's a short lesson, but very powerful. Look that up and laugh about it. You should. Enjoy the shrewdness, the wisdom that you get. Enjoy being smarter than the people that want to manipulate you. Rejoice that God has given you this knowledge, this light, that you can truly walk this path without being subject to these pouters or dancing for these pipers. So young people, if I find out you're doing this, I'll rebuke you. As a father, I will correct you and set you free from those who are manipulating you. So that's enough. It's powerful enough to think about this.